We're back on the Web Insurance Countdown to kickoff. The playoffs are here, and we are ready to wrap up our picks competition, although we will make a few picks today as a bonus round, if you will. But we look back to last week, coming into the action, all these trailing Miller by 2 games, yours truly a game behind Jason. So some gamesmanship with the picks, trying to figure out what the leader might do and go opposite if it was plausible.
And I don't think it worked.
It didn't work. Last week, first game we picked was our broadcast game, Whitmer and Lima Senior, and I put some faith in the Spartans, and they burned me. They got whacked by Whitmer. Miller and Aldrich get that right. Second game we picked was the Ophir Bowl, Van Wert at St. Mary's. Miller and yours truly picking the winner, Van Wert. All these loses out by picking the Riders. Then we went Northwest Conference, Ada LCC Saturday night. Miller and Walker with the Birds, Aldrich with the loss as he took Ada. We all had Jefferson over Spencerville, and the final game, Aldrich makes up a game by taking the Jays, who beat Minster. So final standings for Week 10, Miller goes 4-1, Walker and Aldrich go 3-2, and it is sadly official. Miller will take the crown at 39-11 on the season. Aldrich with 36 wins, yours truly with 35. So Miller, a fairly decisive winner in 2013, and a man known for his humility and gracious winning will take the con now and explain how he is, in fact, the best prognosticator to ever hit the airwaves here on WIMA.
2 important notations. Week number 9, you may recall, I intentionally tanked a couple
It
picks.
did not intentionally tank.
just to keep it competitive. And,
Come on.
And 2, you may further recall, before the season began, it was my open suggestion that this year, rather than take a flyer on picks occasionally just to keep this thing competitive, I'm going to focus in and go ahead and just grab this baby here in 2013, and I rest my case.
I'm going to call that some equine excrement right there.
Well, my concern now is, with this all said and done, when do the QP Frosties arrive, courtesy of the sports director?
Well, you know what? I owe Frosties, and we might just even head down there downtown one day and take over the joint. How about that?
Nothing wrong with that.
All right then. Okay.
The biggest problem is none of us ever go to lunch at the same time or do anything at the same time. That's our biggest problem.
You can take a few minutes out of your busy schedule and slip on down there and bring a few back to us. We're fine with that
we
also.
could do that. That's true.
I like going out together, though. I want to do that as an event.
There you go. I like it. We'll work something out here in the coming weeks. Let's look at this week's playoff matchups, and just for fun, we'll make some picks on some of these games. Our broadcast game tonight here on WIMA, Crestview, Lima Central Catholic. I think a real even matchup. I like the Knights' chances, to be frank about it. LCC has been very uneven all year, as we heard Coach Cooper talk about this morning. They've had numerous injuries. They've had guys get suspended for a game here and there. It really has hampered their development, Mike. I think that's overlooked as to why LCC has struggled this year. Crestview is a team that takes no prisoners. They're a physical team. They run the ball, and that's the kind of team that's given the T-Birds trouble in recent years and this season. I think this one's going to come down to the wire.
I like the T-Birds in this game. I think the home field really does matter. I think the speed factor on the turf is going to be a big factor for them also, and I contend there's a lot of animosity in this game. The T-Birds want this game just as maybe some final shots stepping out of the conference. I know it happened last year already, so I'm taking the T-Birds, and despite the injuries and things they've held throughout the year, sometimes you'll see that with teams that have had some setbacks through the year. That's all behind them now.
Right.
We're in the postseason. They're as healthy as they've been, and I think they're going to put it all together tonight. I like Lima Central Catholic.
Yeah, I'm going to take the T-Birds too. I think their big playability will be the difference, but don't be surprised if Crestview stays right in this one and it comes down to a play in the fourth quarter. And you're right, the T-Birds probably are as healthy as they've been all season, but they still will not have Darius West, the young man who's supposed to sign with Kentucky here sometime in the future. His future really in the air now. That injury, his broken leg, is not healing, or it continues to swell up, to be more accurate. He will not play in this game. Jason, what do you think, Knights or Birds?
Hard for me to go against LCC 2 weeks in a row, and I think last week I did it simply on mathematical reasons to try and gain a game in the standings. So
Right.
I think I'm going to take LCC.
Also tonight, just down the street in the same region, Jefferson hosting Ada. A rematch from 2 weeks ago when Ada beat Jefferson, which was the catalyst for a three-way tie for the league title between those two teams and Crestview. And the Jeff Cats have really not hidden the fact they wanted another shot at Ada. They get it tonight. I think they'll make good on it. I'm going to take the Jeff Cats.
All right, I think so too. Simply because that was one they think they let slip away. They've had an outstanding season, and that would really cap it off, because from then on it would be gravy for Delphus Jefferson. But that home loss was borderline embarrassing for them. Take nothing away from Ada. I like Coach Lindemann. I think he's got his bunch squared away. And the mantra in Delphus is don't lose to purple. Jeff
we'll
Cats
talk about that other one
taking
coming up.
on Ada, and then the other team in town, St. John's, taking on the purple Lipsick. So I'm saying it's a bad weekend for purple. I'm taking Jefferson.
Jason, I assume you concur. Jeff Cats over Bulldogs tonight?
Yeah, plus from what I remember from that Ada LCC game last Saturday night, Ada's starting quarterback, and of course plays a lot on defense as well, got dinged up.
Yeah.
And he ended up not finishing out that game. So, yeah, I think I'm going to lean with the Jeff Cats as well.
We continue to make some playoff picks here. Week 1 of the postseason is tonight. Let's move on to that other Delphus team and that other purple team. That would be St. John's at Lipsick tonight. The Jays have been living on the razor's edge for weeks, knowing they had no room for error. They went out to get to 6-4. They'll play at Lipsick. These teams have already played 3 times in the last 4 years in the playoffs, with the Jays winning all 3. But this time it's in Putnam County. Lipsick is at least the higher-rated team with 2 more wins on the year. Mike, how do you see that one?
I see it Lipsick all the way. I like Lipsick at home. I like the fact that they're the top seed against the 8th seed. I would say the odds are very, very much against the 8th seed. When's the last time the 8th seed beat a number 1 seed? Maybe never. And then throw in the fact that the Jays have won the last handful of games between these two. I would say everything is leaning towards Lipsick, and I say go Vikings.
You're picking Lipsick. All right. Jason, who you got tonight?
I'm picking Delphus St. John's. I think this is where you go in the playoffs. You start to look at the conferences and leagues where these teams are from. Obviously, we talk about the MAC quite a bit. You look at the BBC. The competition there not as strong as it is in the MAC. I'm going DSJ.
You know, I agree with Jason. I'm picking St. John's this week. I think they're playing much better here at the end of the season. And, you know, past results aren't necessarily a great indicator, but they have handled Lipsick in the past. And I think while the BVC, the top 2 or 3 teams, I'm not going to take anything away from them. I think on balance, the Jays have played a tougher schedule. I think they're a better playoff team. That's I'm basing it on that and their strong finish. I'll take the Jays tonight at Lipsick. So we move to the next pick game, a game you can hear on 107.5 WZRX. Wapakoneta with their first ever home playoff game. They will take on Springfield Shawnee. The Braves come in also at 9-1. Their first loss was last week. And a team that I think many people don't realize and had forgotten just 2 years ago were state runners-up. Tough matchup tonight, Mike. You'll have the call on 107.5 WZRX. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think all those years in Division II hurt Wapakoneta in terms of getting a higher playoff finish. This is, I believe, their 5th time to the playoffs over the years, so it is a little bit surprising they've never hosted. The fact that they're hosting tonight, I think, is going to be a real plus for Wapakoneta. There's going to be a gigantic Wapakoneta crowd at this game. There literally will be over 4,000 people at Harmon Field for the contest tonight. And it's going to be a slobber knocker. Both teams like to pound the ball. Springfield Shawnee has a very talented 2-way guy named Jalen Allen, or Jalen Rose, I believe is his name, or Jalen Allen. I don't know. I'll double check it before tonight and figure it out. He's kind of like their version of Zach Schmergy for Wapakoneta. I think over a 4-quarter game, Wapakoneta is too big on the lines that they're going to wear down Springfield Shawnee. I'm going to take the Redskins to win a historic game tonight.
I believe it's Jalen Thomas.
Okay,
I
there
think
you
is
go.
his name. I
Jalen
heard
something.
earlier from Coach
Yep.
Fry. You know what? I'm taking Wapakoneta as well. I think Coach Fry really has them working at a high level right now, and they've been polishing up their game for a few weeks now. I think Springfield Shawnee is a formidable opponent, but I like what Wapakoneta is doing of late, and I'll take the Redskins at home tonight.
How wild is it, guys, that Wapakoneta 2 weeks straight now is playing Shawnee?
Yeah,
How about that?
Very unusual indeed.
Yeah. I saw the Springfield Shawnee team a couple of years ago. Remember when Elida had their deep run? They
Yes.
met up with them down in Piqua, and Springfield
They got
Shawnee
beat.
abruptly
Yeah.
ended their season.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, personnel has probably changed in the past couple of years.
Sure.
So I'm going to go with Wapak. I think they're going to be ready to go tonight playing at home.
Also tonight, to round out the schedule, Kenton is home for Galleon, and that's how our locals stack up tonight. Also, Defiance at Toledo Central Catholic. And tomorrow, Liberty Benton will host Huron. Coldwater's at Eastwood. I predict that'll be a massacre. Coldwater's going to rail them. Macomb is home for Hicksville. Arlington at Fremont St. Joe. Marion Local will entertain Fort Loramie. And Sidney Lehman takes on Paint Valley. And that's going to do it for our roundtable segment. Final show of the season as well, as we wrap up the Web Insurance Countdown to Kickoff. Our broadcast game tonight is LCC and Crestview from Lima Stadium. We'll have more of our Countdown to Kickoff coming up on 1150 WIMA.